Hey guys, this will be video 12 for the Les Paul restoration. I'm going to seriously stay on point because I really want to keep this video as short as possible, so I'm just going to dive right in. If you get a chance, check the Keith Williams 5 Watt World video out again. The introduction to the Les Paul or something like that. Around 28 minutes, 29 minutes, he goes into far more detail about the whole Gibson transition in the 70s into the 80s, which was called the Heritage Series. And when I made the statement early in this series about I don't understand why this guitar wasn't used as a stain grade body, in other words, why was it paint graded? Because the mahogany was so incredible. There's a very strong possibility that this guitar body would have been a heritage guitar, or could have been, and they just decided, well, you know, we're going to make the custom out of it. Not that that was a drawback or that it had a flaw or anything, but anyway, watch that video again. There's a lot more info in there that I didn't realize was available. I'm going to demonstrate the pneumatic air sander a little bit, although I don't recommend anybody that's never done this before use these. Other than the table saw, this is the most dangerous tool in the shop. And I say that laughingly because you'll lose your work so fast with one of these that your head will spin. I love saying that. But I'm gonna show you how to do it. Not on here because I've already got this finished. This is very close to finished. I'm gonna do a quick demo here, and then I'm gonna get that crap out of the way, and then we're not gonna talk about that anymore. Yeah, okay. Let me put that to the side. Make sure it's in the video. I believe so. This is, I'm not going to talk about sanding discs. I think this is 220. What I'm doing there, I'm controlling the PSI at the tool. Now I've got my gauge on my compressor set at 90 psi is the max. Yeah, 90 psi max, 9,000 RPMs. Very fast. It's a very sweet, very gentle, very soft. It's cute. It looks real friendly. It's mean as the devil, man. This thing will eat wood so fast your head will spin. Kick that compressor off so it doesn't just continue to run away. Slick as glass. That's popular. I'm sorry, I may not have been in the mood. I may have not been in the video, in the screen. Slick as glass. Very nice. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Very good tool. How would you use it if you were? And I did use it on this to do the finishing. You have to keep this tool on the work, and you would think, oh, turn it down real slow and it'll be real gentle. Well, the slower you run sandpaper, the more aggressive it is. But with this tool, if you start running it up at 9,000 RPMs, you'll take off 1/8 of an inch, just like that. So how would you use it? You can't let it come off the tool because it's going so fast, and even though it's balanced, it's orbital. But I would probably be coming in here like this. Like if I was really working off that corner right there, I would probably be kind of wiping, you know, maybe, and don't dare do that. And be very careful doing this because you'll think, oh yeah, it's doing great, I'm working the belly. But what's happening back here in the middle, you're kissing your belly, and you pull the tool off, and it's a holy crap moment where you just lost 20 thousandths. And you're going to be doing Bondo. Alright, enough of that. It's a great tool though. Scrapers, angle gauge. I'm going to talk about positive and negative space, and then I'll move to the final call. I think what I'm going to do here is just very quickly, I'm just going to start working. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to demonstrate anything, but I'm just going to show you my mindset when I'm right here. And I've been mapping this thing out and mapping this thing out. It's right now it's basically finished. But here's what I did earlier. I was high right in here. I guess I will have to talk about this a little bit. I was high right in here just by a very, very small amount. This is perfect, but this is a little bit low. It's not dangerous. It's low out here, which is where the binding will be. I've got a 1/4 inch route. It's going to be routing this upper channel, whether I do a step channel for the binding, is a 1/4 inch in. That's incredibly deep. So I'm not worried about what's going on out here. I'm concerned about what's going on back here at a 1/4. You know, that's the guitar. That's the top. So that's really what I'm thinking about. And when I took my calipers and I came in here and I assessed the thickness here. Let's see if it's in the camera. When I assessed the thickness here, here, let me make sure it's in the, yeah, I was afraid that I wasn't getting any visual over here. Where I'm going this apparently is not a CNC guitar either. Apparently they were still using the radial arm saw type cutting, because there's a lot of variation. It's amazing. We're talking the 1/16 of an inch. It's very thin right here in relation to right here. It's pretty consistent, but then from the factory, somebody was probably using an orbital sander. They got a little bit thin right here. And when I was working all this visually up here, bringing this belly together, it caused me to get a little bit low. Now, again, I'm a machinist, I'm an engine builder, I'm a precision mindset. When I say it caused me to get a little bit low, I'm talking like 2/1000ths. I'm talking the thickness of half of a business card or a 1/4 of a business card. Visually, you could come in with just heavier paint on this side and build that up. Am I going to do that? Of course not. I've got ways that I know how to pull that up, because my binding out here is going to control the final dimensions. Is this a mistake? Is this a problem? No, absolutely not. I've just explained it to you what can happen when you start following. You have to make one of two decisions. Do I make it look like it was done with a CNC machine? And if this is 2.96 whatever dimension over here, does it have to be the same over here? No, man, it could be 1/8 of an inch and you wouldn't see it. Is it? Believe it or not, it's a lot thicker right here than it is right here. Is that a problem? No, it's a Les Paul, man. It's beautiful. Enjoy it. Is it low right here? Yep, they got low right there. Did I lose my entire belly and all of my arch just to marry up to what I would call a mistake? Absolutely not. I'm gonna work that in, because why? Remember what I said? Anything that, what do they say? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You know, everything that's going on right there is going to be under the. These are so hard to hold. Everything that's going to be happening in there is going to be covered around the tailpiece and the bridge and all that jazz. And I'll talk about that later on, not necessarily in this video though. So there I did. I got long-winded and started talking, but I wanted, if you're sitting there looking at that, and if you're like me, I'm looking through this camera and I'm going, that guy's got a low spot. He's not talking about something's going on here. Why? Because there's still paint there. And you know, and I could jokingly say I got those where I scratched the black. Well, I got the scratches out, so I'm being funny. So I realized that I got to get rid of this damn paint. I got to get it out of the way and stop worrying about trying to, you know, teeter-totter around this, because I got to feel this maple. I got to know where it is, what it's doing, because I got to blend this so well that there's a strong possibility you're not going to be able to see this, even it being black after it's sprayed, even if I buffed it to a mirror gloss. So on that note, where is it high? It's not anymore. And I know in the camera that looks like a low spot. It's not. It's just grain in the wood. It's the rings where there was darker discoloration in the wood. And every time I look at the video, it's like, God, man, it looks like there's a dip right there. There's not. It's just the camera. So, scrapers, angle gauge, 10 minutes of final work. Probably going to drop that down to 2 minutes since I talked so much. So, block of mahogany. Got a sharp edge that I can really cut if I need to, because I'm leaning. I can lean it forward and really cut that belly off if I need to. I've already done that right there. Got a very flat surface right here. I got a hole in that. Just make note. Make note to not use that side because you might run the risk of transferring that mistake. Let me check the camera. 10 minutes, 42 seconds. Not too bad. It's all done by hand. And I'm going to show you, before I forget, this is very important. You would not believe what you can do with the file. They're amazing. So forgiving. Remember how I mentioned this might have a little bit of pitch to it? The old ones have a recurve. You couldn't necessarily do it with an old one. But since this one has a little bit of pitch up, I can visually look at that file and make sure that I don't run the mistake of using this and looking at the tool, and maybe it has discoloration in the board and it starts deceiving my eye and I start rolling in or something crazy like that. So you can use a file and go around and catch all the high spots. And this is when you're truly finished. I'm using my fingers under here as a guide, and I'm letting them run here and kind of my thumb and my wrist to hold the angle. You don't pull back. When you hear me, I'm not pushing down when I pull back. When I do that, I'm just getting the dust out. I know a lot of you guys already know this, but there's a lot of us that don't know how to work wood. And I came up with another trick. Put your quick grip right there. Put the other quick grip, and I don't think it was in view the other day what I was talking. See how you can push that and it'll drop? This is the one that sticks a little bit. But this is on the other side of the body now. Look at that. I've got one 1-inch C-clamp up there holding the whole body. Nothing distracting or impeding on my view. So I can level off that edge. Or let's say let's say I hit this target perfectly. And I knew that I wanted to start transferring this because right now I have a fat spot right here. Then I could sit here and start working and blending. Now, see how I'm not getting up here? Don't dare get up here. You come up here, game over. You're paint grade. At that point, we are paint grade. But I don't want to make that mistake. I'm staying down here. The tip of that finger is keeping that file from running straight. And this is why you don't want your buddies around telling you about last night's gig, or you don't want your cell phone ringing and somebody trying to get in touch with you. Clean sandpaper. Just a little wire brush. Where my finger is, the guy keeps me from traveling up in there. If your buddy's over there talking about the game last night, you'll miss that stuff and you'll lose your game. I got support back there because I know my fingers are going to be, I'm pushing on that body that way because I'm only working on that edge of the block. Well, shit, you're holding it. You're holding it over here too. I'm only letting the block go just enough to cut. This is what I'm talking about. You have to sacrifice a beautiful, beautiful belly in order to get the proper body thickness out here. I come down here and I'm looking this direction, and then I come over here and I look along this plane. Don't have anything in the way of the view. I had to remove that because I had to allow my finger to get under there. Now what do? Do I use this tool? I can. Make sure the body's okay. If you want to tighten it up, just push that clamp over a little bit and it'll tighten it up. Get your sandpaper where you want it. Take the metal map. I'm using my eye and my hand. I'm a little fat right here. I'm going straight in. It's a little dangerous, but I'm making sure that I don't let this drop down. I'm pushing that belly forward. I'm looking across it right now. All right, now, I've already shown you this. Notice how the quick grips are holding the body. And I got complete access to the body. Mental mapping. Don't touch this over here. I got that where I want it, so leave it alone. I'm going to mention this briefly. Alright, I'm at 16 minutes. That darkened discoloration in the wood might have, in this very white board here, plank versus this neutral color here, might have been throwing my depth perception as well and causing me to fear carving too much of that for fear that I was going to get into that soft wood. And that's why I might have left kind of that knot there. But once I started getting down and overcame the fear of everything, now I can really finalize the belly. I'm rolling. I'm kind of making sure I keep that little belly there because I just pushed it a little bit. Feels good. I would spend a lot more time doing mental mapping right there, but because I don't want this video to cut off, I want to keep this rocking. 220. Oh yeah, this is 120. I wouldn't recommend you using 120 at this point, but I'm pretty good with 120. Get it clean. Feels excellent. You can start priming it at this point. It's ready. So why not take one more mental pass, one more physical pass, and a little bit more mental mapping, and really ask yourself, is this the guitar that I want to see once it turns black and it starts glowing? If it's going to be a real high gloss finish. Any auto body guy, anyone that paints anything with compound curves is going to tell you black is the hardest color to work with. Even if it's flat, it's going to show a lot. This is another reason why you don't want your buddies in the background, or you don't want your favorite song playing in the background. You'll start thinking about something going on in life, and next thing you'll know, you're like, oh my God, I've been sanding for 2 minutes. I should have stopped. Because see, I'm not using pencil marks anymore. I'm just going by feel. Get rid of that 120 as quick as you can. 220. Just 15 seconds. Remember what I said. Have the paper this way. Don't work it this way. It'll start rolling apart on you. I'm kind of white sanding, and every now and then I'm kind of, think about you washing your car. You can feel the car under the sponge or the rag or the towel that you're using. I can feel the guitar. I can feel the guitar coming up in my belly back here. It's a very sweet curve. It's a little bit softer down here because this is asymmetrical. And then what you need to do is stop massaging it. You don't fall in love with it. Don't get excited because of the work you're doing, because you'll end up sanding too much. And it's amazing how quickly we're down to 1/1000ths right now. You go another thousandths, it's amazing, you start losing it. So leave it alone. She's finished. Other than, if you want to hit it one more time, 400, just make sure it's where you want it. And it is. Finished. Beautiful. Looks good. And I forgot to bring a wet cloth over here. At this point, I'm going to start washing it. And when I say washing, I'm just talking about a damp cloth. Just because I want to get this crap off. I'll put the yellow poster board up there. I'm going to show this briefly because I talked a little bit too long earlier. Alright, you don't need the clamps anymore. I never throw my tools on the floor, but we got a time issue here and I don't want to waste time. Alright, let me slow down. What I was talking about, let me look at this. Okay, positive and negative space. Remember how I said the reason I have not routed this off yet is because that's my binding, or that's my binding point. That's where my binding is going to hit, and I can rest that straight edge on that, and I can sit up here, and I can do one or two things by hand, just pull around it, and I can look at the positive and negative space. Positive being the line that it's riding on up here at the base of the teardrop, and the line that it's riding on out here at the edge. So I'm going around the guitar, I'm even going up here, and I'm just kind of taking a mental map and a visual mapping of everything. You can take your straight edge. I don't have time to talk about what this is, but this is for building stairs. Laying out the stringers of a stair. You got two of these, you put them on a frame and square. You can put this right here. Let me just do it and you can just watch. Well, it's amazing. I did it earlier, but oh, here we go. There's the mistake I'm making. Okay, I'm slipping down here, holding a little bit of pressure. Oh, I know what it is. I don't have this tight enough. I don't have any tension on. Okay. Now I can loosen it up and let it fall. I'm not going to start talking about how the tool works. And because this is like a machinist tool, even though it's for carpentry, it's for stair building, guess what I got? Let me see if it's in the camera. I know exactly what my pitch is based on that spot. Now, where should I start? Should I start from my work or from Gibson's work? Pretty self-explanatory. Start from Gibson's work. Remember, this is asymmetrical. Last thing I need to do is take that gauge and then come over here and go, oh God, something's wrong. Check that out. That lets you know right there, I'm exactly the same at my work as Gibson is at their work. That's very symmetrical in that cut, in that transition right there. It's probably going to be a little bit different right here. Yeah, see? Because I'm still just a little bit high. Once I work this, and it's not this, and I'll touch the belly. You gotta differentiate between, am I high out here at the body thickness or am I high at the belly? And you gotta differentiate between what's causing this positive and negative space. Negative space being the spring that where you see the light and the shadow coming through. And if you don't understand that, I can't really spend any more time about that because it would be a waste of time. It would be a waste of time to the guys that really know how to do this. If you don't understand what I just explained, you probably don't need to be building arch type guitars. All right. Final call, the body. I'm not going to talk about the neck. We're at a point now to where we're at the final call. If this is my guitar, what am I going to do? Doesn't matter, because this is not my guitar. I'm staying on point. This is somebody else's guitar. But I will tell you what I would do if it were my guitar. Would I come in here and do all this scoop carving and try to turn it into a 54? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. That's a waste of time, and it's going to show that you don't respect the transition and the artistry of what the path that Gibson as a corporation has taken and the impact they've had. But am I going to come off this point right here and just flatten off the body and lose every bit of that belly? Nope. Nope. I'm putting a belly there that is so subtle that most people would look at that and go, "Oh, are you sure that wasn't a Heritage? We know it's an 80 or it's a 79. That was probably a Heritage," because you want to be able to make it beautiful, because this is going to be hard to explain without wasting time. You have to get to a point where you start thinking for your client. Don't expect your client to tell you, "Oh yeah, I want it to look like a 1976 to 1982 transition from blah 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 to the Heritage." They don't know that. They want it to be a Les Paul. But it's your job to make it look so incredible that if this guy takes us to Gruen or Carter Vintage or Norman's or any of those guys look at that and go, "Who the hell did this work? That's incredible. That's beautiful." That's what you want. And did I alter it from being a Gibson to becoming one of my guitars? Nope, I didn't. I just did kind of almost like a shadow of what was to come of the Heritage. Let me check the camera. Yeah, it's getting pretty long-winded. I'm already at 26. So I think I drove that home, and I hope no one thinks I'm angry. I'm not angry. I'm in a fast mood. I really want to get this information out there and get it concreted, because you as the guitar builder, you have to realize I've built over 125 guitars, and I've shipped them all over the world. I need to be a man enough to make the call whether this guy really understands what I'm talking about or not. When he gets it, it's like an architect told me once. My client doesn't have to understand why they like what they see. They just have to like it. Period. Not enough said. Isn't that incredible? In other words, don't spend all your time folding your socks. Just go run the race. All right, final call body. Change the binding at the cutaway to compound, or what do we do? Or do we keep it a 1978, 79? And I'm not gonna. Please don't think I'm being judgmental, but this is a mistake. That's a horrific. Make sure it's in the camera. That's a mistake. That's way too thick. It shouldn't be that. But this is not my call. If this guitar belonged to the client's 12-year-old son, and they just lost that child, you think I'm going to change that binding? Absolutely not. That's staying. I don't care what they say, because this was whose guitar, and and if he wanted a Floyd Rose, we're routing this baby. We're putting a Floyd Rose on it. So you have to get to a point where you're able to look at certain things and tell your client boldly. If you want to know the truth, Tim Shaw would have said, "Oh man, guys, what are you doing? Why? Why did you do that? Do this." Right now is a great time to change that. Is it my call? Nope, it's not my call. It's the owner's guitar. It's his call. All right, what's next? I'm not going to talk about how I can control the body thickness with the final binding, because just making that statement enough makes clarifies that. The height of my binding is, when I do the binding, it's going to be a little bit higher, and then I can come out here, and once I'm scraping the final thickness, I'm at 29. It's probably going to cut off pretty soon. I can control the final body thickness with how thick I scrape the binding, because we've already achieved this up here. I'm probably just going to start reading through this. We do need to make a decision. Are we going to put anchors back in the body, or do you want me to fill these plugs? Do you want me to put studs in these, and are we going to mount them like a Heritage, where the studs go right into the body? It's my guitar. I'm doing this right here. It's not my guitar. But I'm not going to twist anybody's arm and say, "Oh man, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got to do it." personally, I would fill that and do the studs. Be beautiful. It'd look really cool, and everyone would think it was a Heritage, and they'd be confused about, are you sure this is a 70s? I think this is a Heritage. And you could keep that to yourself. No, I just had a builder that knew what the hell he was doing, or at least had the ability to put the decision in my court, meaning I'm, the owner. Bridge to tailpiece studs only versus anchors. Time to do your research or ask the pros, not the forums. I'm not going to go into that. That question I just asked you right there, don't go on the forums. 99% of the people on the forums don't have a clue. And I'm not going to say anything else. Ask a pro. Either ask me or call Stuart McDonald, call Grew and Guitars, call Carter and ask them what they would do. But don't waste anybody's time. Maybe call your local luthier. I'm not talking to this owner here, but in general terms, ask someone you really trust, but don't waste anybody's time. Correcting factory mistakes versus taking responsibility. Already talked about that, where they got a little bit low from Gibson. Order of operations.